administration, we created the Department of Energy, and they're supposed to create energy independence. And, you know, I could hang that on the Democrat president. I could say that under the Clinton administration, Bill Clinton said that it would take us 10 years to get energy independence, and he never started anything. You know, it's very interesting to me that when I put up these numbers as far as the budget, the debt, and the deficit, that for whatever reason, I guess the Democrat Party and the president gets a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now, are you rejecting everything that I say up here as far as the principles that I am presenting tonight?
Sir, are you familiar with credit default swaps and what they
are?
Oh,
yes.
Are you familiar with them?
Yes, I am.
How can anyone in the right mind stand before a crowd and be a member of a party that has allied itself with anything that is... You actually know what a credit default swap is, right? I believe you do.
Sir, the bottom line is that, you know, what you're saying is just because I'm a Republican, I'm a bad person.
No, what I'm saying is, what the Republican Party has done to America and the world is obvious. It's obvious. I know, out of my own savings account, I spent $351,000 trying to prevent what's coming on now. And you know, I just thank Jesus that I was able to... Excuse me, can I talk? So, what has the Republican Party?
Well, I tell you what, you know, we put the numbers up there, and, you know, I would be very admit to say that we did have a presidential administration, under the Bush administration, that brought us into a very bad financial situation. But if you don't stand here and admit that a bad situation was taken over by the Democrat Party, President Barack Obama, and it has been exacerbated, okay? If you don't want to admit that, then there's nothing I can say.
I heard you say earlier that you were taken by surprise on Saturday to find that we had missiles bombarding Libya. That would be, I guess, our third undeclared and illegal war. We were all taught in history class that Congress, and only Congress, had the right to declare war. The costs of these wars, which in terms of our discretionary budget, the military spending is approximately 48% of the entire discretionary budget. That includes current wars and military debts and obligations. It's costing us $1 million every day for every single soldier we have in Afghanistan. My question to you is this. Your colleague, Representative Lee, has recently introduced a resolution to say that we should immediately cease funding this unwinnable war and draw down and spend only for the cost of bringing our troops home safely. Will you support Representative Lee's resolution?
No, ma'am, I cannot. Let me tell you why I cannot. I am not going to look at a man or a woman in a combat zone and tell them that I'm going to abandon them. I've been in combat. I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And when we ceased operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, we did not complete that mission. I knew that later on we would be back in that part of the world. 2003, 2013, whatever. Anytime you have half-measure warfare, you're going to have residual effects. Now, if you knew who I was and what I stood for, I have said countless amounts of time, after the 2.5 years I spent in Afghanistan, after 10 months I spent in Iraq in 2003, that I do not believe in nation building or occupation-style warfare. That is what has gotten us into trouble. But when you have people at the strategic level that don't understand those type of things, that's where we end up finding ourselves. And that's why I'm happy to be serving on the Armed Services Committee. But there is no way that I'm going to turn my back on anyone that is out there in a combat outpost at 10,000 feet saying that he was
My husband is a Vietnam veteran.
so
He
was my older brother.
served in battle. I believe that you didn't hear that the part of the resolution that I'm asking you to consider is that we fund the safe return of our troops, but that we not fund the continuing unwinnable assault on Afghanistan. We have no exit strategy at the current time. We have no way of ascertaining when we win in Afghanistan. We're fighting a war on terror. We are not fighting the people of Afghanistan, yet we're killing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them, and I'm asking you not to spend my tax dollars to continue to kill innocent people.
I think that if you actually did a careful analysis, you would see that a lot of the radical Islamic terrorist groups are the reasons why you have those young boys, young girls, men and women in Afghanistan and Iraq and all across the world that are being killed. It is not the United States military going out and killing innocent civilians. And let me tell you something that happened that I saw firsthand. When you get into an engagement with the Taliban and they find that they're losing, the Taliban then runs into a local town or a local village, and they will hide in and amongst civilians. And that is part of what has happened on this battlefield. I've seen the Taliban pick up little children and hold them up in front of them while they went out and recovered their dead and wounded off of the battlefield. Our men and women are the best that this country can offer.
Many of them release of the kill team information.
Yeah, but okay, so now once again, of course I am. And I was in Iraq during Abu Ghraib. And you know my history. I fired a pistol over a guy's head to give up information because I'm not going to allow anyone to kill my soldiers. What you're talking about is a bad apple. And that bad apple is going to end up in Fort Leavenworth. There's no doubt about it. And that's where he should be.
It's not a he, sir. It was an entire group.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't say in the plural. I spoke in the singular. But that's
Next question.
So, I know.
Demonize our military.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm Allison Rampersad from Delray Beach. My question is the following. As you know, if you look at the mode of coming across, especially our southern border, but also our northern border, the Islamic jihadists have had their influence. Only this morning, 15 people were caught driving a U.S. government vehicle, and they were dressed in U.S. Marine clothing. I know your stance. You don't have to explain. I know where you stand on our borders. Who in Washington can we call, write, fax, email, whatever we have to do to put the pressure on? Tell us who those individuals are so that we can get the borders closed. Thank you, sir.
If you are serious about that, you start off with the Homeland Security Committee in the United States House, and you call over to your senators and make sure that they understand that we cannot continue on with an unsecured border. As I said, it is a national security issue, and if you go to certain the Border Patrol websites, there's a category called OTMs, and OTM stands for Other Than Mexicans. And just recently, I had a trip and a briefing down at the United States Southern Command in Miami. Hezbollah is in South America. Iran is in South America. And open source intelligence, they can share with you, there are this new thing called mini submersibles, 2 to 3 man operated submersibles that are highly technologically advanced as far as the communication systems and navigation systems, and they're very hard to detect. Today is drugs. We don't know what it may be in the future.
Good evening, Congressman West. My name is Tommy Scheckman. I'm a pediatrician in private practice here in Palm Beach County. I'm also an executive of the Florida chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. My concern this evening is about what's going to happen for our children and your health. And I'll specifically follow up on the Clean Air Act. Your voting track record with the budget bill showed that you certainly looked like you were trying, or you said earlier tonight, not to dismantle, but to weaken the EPA. My concern is we have 20,000 children here in Palm Beach County, Broward County with asthma. There's great scientific proof that certainly clean air decreases the risk to these children with asthma, decreases hospitalizations, decreases costs. Preventive care, public health care will reduce spending costs down the road. Children grow up, we want them to be healthy young adults.